Rabbit hole number 1, optical illusions and why your brain fills gaps. Your brain is constantly lying to you, and it's doing it to help. When you look at the world, you're not seeing reality directly. Your eyes capture fragments of light, but your brain fills in the missing pieces. This is why optical illusions work so well. That spinning dancer that seems to change direction? Your brain is guessing which way she's turning based on incomplete information. The gaps between what you see and what's actually there reveal something profound. Perception isn't passive observation. It's active construction. Your mind predicts reality milliseconds before you experience it, smoothing over blind spots and creating a seamless sense of now that doesn't technically exist. Rabbit hole number 2, the Mandela effect. This same tendency to fill gaps explains something stranger. You might remember Nelson Mandela dying in prison during the 1980s, even though he actually died in 2013. Thousands of people share this false memory. It's called the Mandela effect, and it happens because human memory doesn't work like a video recording. Every time you remember something, you're rebuilding it from fragments, influenced by suggestions, stories you've heard, and details your brain invents to complete the picture. These aren't lies or delusions. They're normal operations of a mind that prioritizes useful patterns over perfect accuracy. When many people misremember the same detail, it often reveals how we collectively process information, mixing media coverage with imagination until we can't tell them apart. Rabbit hole number 3, the simulation hypothesis. Some people take this unreliability further and wonder, what if everything is constructed? The simulation hypothesis suggests our entire universe might be an artificial reality, running on some vast cosmic computer. The logic is surprisingly simple. If civilizations eventually create convincing simulations of consciousness, and if they run many such simulations, then statistically, you're more likely to exist inside a simulation than in base reality. Philosophers and physicists debate this seriously, though most emphasize we currently have no way to test it. The idea resonates because it matches our experience. Reality feels continuous, but quantum mechanics shows it might be more pixelated than smooth, more computed than observed. Rabbit hole number 4, quantum entanglement. Speaking of quantum mechanics, entanglement is one of its strangest confirmed phenomena. When two particles become entangled, measuring one instantly affects the other, regardless of distance. Einstein called it spooky action at a distance because it seemed to violate the universal speed limit. But entanglement doesn't let you send information faster than light. It's more like a cosmic correlation where particles share a connection that transcends space in ways we still don't fully understand. This isn't science fiction. Researchers use entanglement in quantum computers and encryption. It suggests the universe is fundamentally interconnected in ways that challenge our intuitive sense of separation and locality. Rabbit hole number 5, dreams and false awakenings. Your sleeping mind creates its own reality distortions. Dreams feel real while they're happening, complete with logic that makes perfect sense until you wake up. Sometimes you experience a false awakening. You dream that you've woken up, gotten dressed, started your day, only to actually wake up and realize none of it happened. These nested realities show how convincingly your brain can simulate experience without any external input. The boundary between dreaming and waking isn't as sharp as we'd like to think. Your consciousness doesn't flick on like a light switch. It gradually assembles itself from fragments, which is why those first moments after waking can feel so disorienting. Rabbit hole number 6, déjà vu and jamais vu. Then there's déjà vu, that eerie sensation of having lived this exact moment before. Neuroscientists believe it happens when your memory storage system misfires, creating a false sense of familiarity. Your brain tags the present moment as a memory while it's still happening. The opposite experience, jamais vu, is even stranger. Something utterly familiar suddenly feels alien and new. You look at a common word and it seems meaningless, or your own street feels like foreign territory. These glitches reveal how much of reality is filtered through recognition. Without that constant sense of, I've experienced this type of thing before, the world becomes unmoored and uncanny. Rabbit hole number 7, placebo and nocebo effects. The mind's power over the body appears in placebo effects. Give someone a sugar pill and tell them it's medicine, and they often get better anyway. This isn't imagination or trickery. Measurable changes occur. Pain decreases, inflammation reduces, symptoms improve. Belief activates real biological pathways. The nocebo effect is the dark mirror. Negative expectations create negative outcomes. Tell someone a harmless pill has side effects, and they'll experience them. This reveals something profound about the mind-body connection. Your expectations don't just color your interpretation of reality. They actively shape your physical experience, blurring the line between mental and material. Rabbit hole number 8, the infinite monkey theorem. Mathematics offers its own reality-bending scenarios. The infinite monkey theorem states that a monkey randomly hitting typewriter keys for infinite time will eventually type the complete works of Shakespeare. It's a thought experiment about probability and infinity. Given enough chances, even impossibly unlikely events become certainties. This applies to our universe too. In infinite space or infinite time, every possible configuration of matter must occur, including exact copies of you, living slightly different lives. The mathematics is sound, but the implications feel absurd. Yet infinity transforms the impossible into the inevitable. Rabbit hole number 9, the ship of Theseus. Philosophy adds another layer with the ship of Theseus. Imagine a wooden ship where, over years, every single plank gets replaced. Is it still the same ship? If you reassemble the original planks into a ship, which one is the true ship of Theseus? This ancient puzzle applies directly to you. Your cells replace themselves constantly. The atoms that make up your body today aren't the ones from 7 years ago, yet you feel like the same person. Identity persists even as physical substance changes completely. We are patterns, not things. Continuity is conceptual, not material. Rabbit hole number 10, split brain experiments. Finally, split brain experiments reveal how fragile unified consciousness really is. When surgeons cut the connection between brain hemispheres to treat severe epilepsy, something strange emerges. Each hemisphere can process information independently, sometimes wanting different things, making different choices. Show the left eye one image and the right eye another, and the person reports seeing only what the left brain processes, yet their left hand responds to what only the right brain saw. 2 awareness centers operate in one skull. This suggests the unified you, experiencing reality right now, might be more of an illusion than you think, a story the brain tells to make sense of its divided processing. Rabbit hole number 11. The Voynich Manuscript. In a university library sits a book that nobody can read. The Voynich Manuscript, carbon dated to the early 1400s, contains 240 pages of flowing text in an unknown script, accompanied by bizarre illustrations of unidentifiable plants, astronomical diagrams, and naked figures in strange plumbing systems. Linguists, cryptographers, and computer algorithms have all failed to crack its code. Some believe it's an elaborate hoax, a meaningless string of symbols designed to look meaningful. Others think it might be an extinct language, an encrypted medical text, or knowledge deliberately hidden. What's unsettling is that the text follows statistical patterns similar to real languages, suggesting genuine meaning buried beneath symbols we simply cannot parse. It remains one of history's most elegant mysteries. Rabbit hole number 12. The Lost City of Atlantis. Plato described it in 360 BCE, a powerful island civilization that sank beneath the waves in a single day and night. For centuries, people have searched for Atlantis, proposing locations from the Mediterranean to Antarctica. Most scholars believe Plato invented Atlantis as a philosophical allegory, a cautionary tale about hubris and the fragility of civilizations. Yet the story persists because it touches something deeper. Every culture has flood myths and legends of lost golden ages. Perhaps Atlantis represents our collective memory of real disasters, like the Minoan eruption that devastated Bronze Age civilizations. Or maybe it's simply our tendency to believe that knowledge and greatness must have existed before us, now lost beneath literal or metaphorical waves. Rabbit hole number 13. Pyramids and hidden chambers. The Great Pyramid of Giza has stood for 4,500 years, and we're still finding rooms inside it. Recent muon imaging, which uses cosmic rays to see through stone, revealed a massive hidden void above the Grand Gallery. We don't know what's in there or why it exists. The precision of the pyramids continues to baffle engineers. Blocks weighing tons fitted together so tightly you can't slip paper between them, aligned to celestial north with remarkable accuracy. Some people claim this proves ancient aliens or lost technology. The reality is perhaps more impressive. Human ingenuity, mathematics, and countless hours of labor achieved the seemingly impossible. Each new chamber discovered reminds us how much about our own history remains literally buried. Rabbit hole number 14. The Antikythera mechanism. In 1901, divers recovering artifacts from an ancient shipwreck found something impossible, a corroded lump of bronze gears. When researchers examined it, they discovered humanity's first analog computer, built around 100 BCE. The Antikythera mechanism could predict eclipses, track the Olympic Games calendar, and model the irregular motion of the moon with stunning accuracy. It contained technology that wouldn't appear again for over 1,000 years. This single object rewrites our understanding of ancient Greek engineering. It suggests that sophisticated astronomical knowledge and precision manufacturing existed in antiquity, then vanished. What else was lost? How many other technological achievements disappeared when the Library of Alexandria burned? Rabbit hole number 15. Ancient nuclear war theory. Some ancient texts describe weapons of devastating power. A single projectile charged with all the power of the universe, creating an incandescent column of smoke and flame as bright as 10,000 suns. Enthusiasts point to passages in the Mahabharata and claim they describe nuclear weapons. They reference vitrified stones and supposedly radioactive skeletons as evidence of prehistoric atomic warfare. Archaeologists dismiss this firmly. The evidence has mundane explanations. Vitrified rock comes from regular fires and lightning strikes. Ancient texts use poetic hyperbole, and radiation readings are either natural background levels or misinterpreted data. Still, the theory persists, reflecting our modern anxiety that advanced civilizations inevitably destroy themselves, projected backward into mythology. Rabbit hole number 16. The Baghdad Battery. In 1936, archaeologists discovered clay jars near Baghdad containing copper cylinders and iron rods, dating to around 200 CE. When you add an acidic liquid, they generate about 2 volts of electricity. Were these ancient batteries? Some researchers believe they might have been used for electroplating gold onto silver. Others dismiss them as containers for sacred scrolls, where the metal components served a completely different purpose. Replicas do produce electricity, but that doesn't prove ancient people used them that way. The Baghdad Battery sits in that frustrating space where the past offers tantalizing clues without clear answers. Ancient people were brilliant, but we must be careful not to project our technology backward without solid evidence. Rabbit hole number 17. The disappearance of the Mayans. The Maya didn't actually disappear. Millions of Maya people still live in Central America today, speaking Mayan languages and maintaining cultural traditions. What collapsed was their classical civilization around 900 CE. Within decades, magnificent cities were abandoned, sophisticated writing systems fell out of use, and complex trade networks dissolved. Why? Evidence points to a perfect storm of droughts, warfare, environmental degradation, and political collapse. The Maya had engineered their landscape brilliantly, but perhaps pushed it too far. When severe droughts struck, the system couldn't adapt. It's a sobering reminder that even sophisticated civilizations are vulnerable to environmental shifts and resource mismanagement. The mystery isn't why they vanished, but how suddenly complexity can unravel. Rabbit hole number 18, the Dyatlov Pass incident. In 1959, 9 experienced Soviet hikers died mysteriously in the Ural Mountains. Their tent was cut open from inside. They fled into the freezing night wearing minimal clothing. Some had strange injuries, fractured skulls, missing eyes, massive internal trauma, but no external wounds. Soviet investigators closed the case, citing an unknown compelling force. Theories have ranged from avalanches to military tests to infrasound-induced panic. Recent research suggests a rare type of delayed avalanche could explain the tent damage and injuries, while hypothermia causes paradoxical undressing, where freezing people feel hot and remove clothes. But the Soviet secrecy and scattered contradictory evidence created a vacuum that speculation rushed to fill. Sometimes the most mundane explanation feels unsatisfying when the tragedy is so complete. Rabbit hole number 19, Nikola Tesla's death files. When Nikola Tesla died alone in a New York hotel in 1943, the FBI seized his papers. Tesla had claimed to have designed a death ray and a way to transmit unlimited wireless energy. Conspiracy theories exploded. Did his papers contain world-changing inventions? Were they suppressed by the government? The reality is less dramatic. The FBI did review Tesla's belongings, but concluded his so-called death ray was mostly theoretical and likely impractical. Most of Tesla's papers eventually went to museums. Yet the story endures because Tesla himself was genuinely brilliant and genuinely eccentric. He made real breakthroughs in alternating current and wireless transmission. The question isn't whether governments hide secrets, it's whether Tesla's final ideas were revolutionary, or the ambitious dreams of an aging genius. Rabbit hole number 20. The Tartaria theory. A recent internet phenomenon claims that a vast advanced civilization called Tartaria was erased from history in the 1800s. Proponents point to old maps showing Tartari, ornate 19th century buildings they claim couldn't have been built with period technology, and worldwide mud flood events that allegedly buried Tartarian structures. Historians have a simpler explanation. Tartary was a vague European term for Central Asian regions, not a unified empire. The grand buildings were actually built when claimed, during a period of rapid architectural achievement. Old photos showing buildings partially buried simply captured cities raising street levels for sanitation. The Tartaria theory reveals how easily patterns can seem to emerge when you're looking for them, and how satisfying it feels to believe conventional history is incomplete. Rabbit hole number 21. Panpsychism, consciousness everywhere. What if consciousness isn't something special that only brains produce? Panpsychism suggests that consciousness might be a fundamental feature of the universe, like mass or charge. In this view, even electrons have some tiny spark of experience. Not thoughts or feelings as we know them, but something more basic. When matter arranges itself into complex patterns like brains, these tiny sparks combine into richer awareness. It sounds mystical, but some philosophers and scientists take it seriously as a solution to the consciousness puzzle. If mind emerges from mindless matter, we need to explain how. But if matter already contains primitive consciousness, combination might be easier to explain than creation from nothing. It's a strange idea that makes the entire universe feel less empty and more alive. Rabbit hole number 22, out-of-body experiences. Some people report floating above their bodies, watching themselves from outside. During surgeries, near accidents, or moments of extreme stress, consciousness seems to separate from flesh. They describe seeing details they couldn't have known, conversations in waiting rooms, objects on high shelves, events in distant locations. Neuroscience offers explanations. Disrupted brain regions that track body position, oxygen deprivation, the mind constructing narratives from fragments of sensation. Yet some reported details remain difficult to dismiss. Studies have placed hidden targets in operating rooms that only a floating perspective could see, though results remain inconclusive. Whether these experiences represent actual separation or elaborate brain hallucinations, they reveal how fragile the connection between self and body truly feels. Rabbit hole number 23. Near-death experiences. Thousands of people who've been clinically dead describe remarkably similar experiences, moving through tunnels toward light, encountering deceased relatives, feeling overwhelming peace, watching their lives review in moments. Some report verified details from their resuscitation that they shouldn't have perceived while unconscious. Skeptics point to oxygen-starved brains, DMT release, or cultural conditioning creating expected narratives. Believers see evidence of consciousness surviving death. What's striking is the consistency across cultures and time periods, though specific details often match cultural expectations of the afterlife. These experiences profoundly change people, reducing fear of death and increasing compassion. Whether window into another realm or final gift from a dying brain, they suggest consciousness has modes we barely understand. Rabbit hole number 24. The Tulpa phenomenon. Tibetan Buddhism describes tulpas, entities created through intense concentration and belief. The idea traveled west and merged with psychological concepts and internet culture. People claim to deliberately develop autonomous entities in their minds, separate voices, personalities, even visual hallucinations that feel independent. Online communities share techniques for tulpa creation, reporting companions that seem to think and respond on their own. Psychology recognizes similar phenomena: imaginary friends, dissociative states, and the mind's ability to partition itself. The line between visualization, self-hypnosis, and genuine alternate consciousness blurs here. Whether tulpas represent created beings or sophisticated self-deception, they demonstrate the mind's capacity to construct entities that feel completely real and separate from the creator. Rabbit hole number 25. Sleep paralysis demons. You wake up but cannot move. A presence lurks in the room. Sometimes you see it, a shadow figure, a hag sitting on your chest, a demon in the corner. Your body is frozen while your mind screams. This is sleep paralysis, and it's terrifying. During REM sleep, your brain paralyzes muscles to prevent acting out dreams. Sometimes you wake while this paralysis persists. Your brain, caught between sleep and waking, hallucinates threats to explain the helplessness. Cultures worldwide report remarkably similar entities: the old hag in Newfoundland, the shadow person in modern accounts, incubi and succubi in medieval Europe. The consistency suggests deep evolutionary wiring. Paralyzed primates who hallucinated predators survived better than those who stayed calm, even if the threat wasn't real. Rabbit hole number 26. Lucid dreaming. Rabbit holes. Imagine becoming aware you're dreaming while the dream continues. In lucid dreams, consciousness emerges within sleep, allowing you to explore and even control dream environments. Some people train themselves to recognize dream signs and trigger awareness. Once lucid, dreamers report flying, visiting impossible places, meeting aspects of their psyche given form. But there are deeper layers, false awakenings within lucid dreams, dream characters who claim to be independent. and the unsettling sensation of meeting something other than yourself within your own mind. Some lucid dreamers report shared dreams, though evidence remains anecdotal. These experiences raise questions about consciousness layers, whether awareness can exist without waking, and what else might be happening in our minds while we sleep. Rabbit hole number 27. The hard problem of consciousness. Science can explain how neurons fire, how information processes, how brains generate behavior, but there's something it can't yet explain. Why any of this feels like something. Why does the color red look red? Why does pain hurt? This is the hard problem of consciousness. You could theoretically build a perfect brain simulation, matching every neural pattern, yet we have no idea if it would actually experience anything. The gap between objective physical processes and subjective experience seems impossible to bridge. Some philosophers think consciousness is irreducible, a fundamental feature we must accept. Others believe we're missing key concepts that will make experience as explainable as digestion. For now, the fact that you're aware of reading these words remains deeply mysterious. Rabbit hole number 28. Collective unconscious. Jung. Carl Jung proposed something radical. Beneath personal memories lies a deeper layer shared by all humans. The collective unconscious contains archetypes, universal patterns that appear across cultures without direct transmission. The hero, the shadow, the wise old man, the great mother. These figures emerge independently in myths worldwide. Jung believed we inherit psychological structures like we inherit bodies, shaped by millions of years of human experience. Modern psychology is skeptical of literal inherited memories, but finds value in universal patterns. Perhaps archetypes arise from common human experiences. Every child has parents, faces danger, experiences growth. The structures aren't inherited, but inevitable, recreated in each generation, because the human condition remains fundamentally similar across time and culture. Rabbit hole number 29. Mirror test and animal self-awareness. Put a mark on an animal's face and place them before a mirror. If they touch their own face rather than the reflection, they recognize themselves. This simple test reveals self-awareness. Great apes pass it, so do dolphins, elephants, and magpies. But the test may be limited. Dogs fail it, yet demonstrate self-recognition through scent. Octopuses show possible self-awareness despite evolving intelligence independently. The question goes deeper. What does it feel like to be a bat, a crow, an octopus? Do they have interior experiences like ours, or is consciousness so different we can't imagine it? The mirror test shows that many minds recognize themselves as separate entities, but it can't tell us whether they wonder about their existence like we do. Rabbit hole number 30. The idea that memories can be implanted. Your childhood memories might never have happened. Elizabeth Loftus demonstrated how easily false memories form. She convinced people they were lost in a mall as children, though it never occurred. Therapy patients recovered abuse memories that later proved fictional, destroying families. Our memories are reconstructions, vulnerable to suggestion, imagination, and revision. Each time you remember something, you slightly change it, incorporating new information or emotions. Studies show people can remember entire events from photos that were digitally altered. This isn't about deception. The memories feel completely real. The implications are profound. Eyewitness testimony is unreliable. Your sense of personal history is questionable, and the you that remembers might be partly fiction. We are stories we tell ourselves, and sometimes those stories are wrong. Rabbit hole number 31. The Fermi paradox. The universe is unimaginably vast, filled with billions of galaxies, each containing billions of stars. Many of those stars have planets. Some of those planets should harbor life. Given enough time, some civilizations should become spacefaring, spreading across the galaxy. So physicist Enrico Fermi asked the haunting question, where is everybody? We see no alien signals, no megastructures, no evidence of cosmic neighbors. Perhaps life is incredibly rare. Maybe intelligence destroys itself before reaching the stars, or civilizations stay hidden deliberately. Dark possibilities emerge too. Maybe something filters out civilizations before they spread, a cosmic barrier we haven't reached yet. The silence of the universe isn't just puzzling, it's one of the most profound mysteries we face, suggesting we might be far more alone or in far more danger than we realize. Rabbit hole number 32, Kardashev scale of civilizations. In 1964, astronomer Nikola Kardashev proposed measuring civilizations by their energy use. Type 1 civilizations harness all energy available on their planet. Type 2 civilizations capture the total output of their star. Type 3 civilizations command the energy of entire galaxies. Humanity sits at roughly 0.7, not even Type 1 yet. The scale reveals our cosmic infancy and suggests what advanced civilizations might achieve. Weather control, stellar engineering, galaxy-spanning networks. Some add Type 4, controlling universe-scale energy, or Type 5, manipulating multiple universes. Each jump seems impossible until you remember that to someone in the 1800s, our current technology would seem godlike. The scale asks not just what's out there, but what we might become if we survive long enough to grow up. Rabbit hole number 33, Boltzmann brains. Here's a disturbing thought from thermodynamics. In an infinite universe approaching heat death, random quantum fluctuations will eventually produce any configuration of matter, including fully formed brains, complete with false memories. These Boltzmann brains would vastly outnumber real evolved consciousnesses because they're simpler to randomly generate than entire consistent universes. Statistically, you're more likely to be a Boltzmann brain that just fluctuated into existence with implanted memories than a real person in a real universe. This seems absurd, but the mathematics is sound. It's a reductio ad absurdum argument, suggesting something's wrong with our cosmological models. The paradox reveals how strange probability becomes at cosmic scales, where the impossible becomes inevitable given enough time and space. Rabbit hole number 34. Heat death of the universe. The universe is running down like a wound clock. Entropy always increases, energy becomes more evenly distributed, and useful work becomes harder to extract. In trillions of years, stars will burn out, black holes will evaporate. Eventually, the universe reaches maximum entropy, a state of perfect equilibrium where nothing can happen because there's no energy difference to drive change. This is heat death, and it's likely the universe's ultimate fate. Everything that has ever existed, all art, love, discovery, suffering, will fade into cold, dark equilibrium. Some find this depressing, others find strange comfort in it. Nothing matters cosmically, which means only the present matters personally. The universe's eventual silence makes every moment of warmth and consciousness precious precisely because it's temporary. Rabbit hole number 35. Time dilation in relativity. Time isn't the same for everyone. Move fast enough or get close enough to massive objects, and time literally slows down for you relative to others. Astronauts on the International Station age slightly slower than people on Earth. Near a black hole's event horizon, time crawls to near stillness, while the universe outside ages rapidly. This isn't illusion or perception. It's fundamental reality. GPS satellites must correct for relativistic effects, or they'd give wrong locations. You could theoretically travel to the far future by accelerating close to light speed, then returning to find centuries have passed. Time is woven into space, flexible and personal. The steady march of seconds we take for granted is just a local experience, not a universal truth. Rabbit hole number 36. Gödel's incompleteness. Theorems. In 1931, mathematician Kurt Gödel proved something shocking. Any mathematical system complex enough to be useful contains true statements that cannot be proven within that system. Math, the bedrock of certainty, is fundamentally incomplete. There are mathematical truths we can never prove, and we can never be completely certain our mathematical systems are consistent. It's like discovering that language cannot fully describe itself, that reason has built-in blind spots. Some philosophers extend this beyond math. Perhaps consciousness cannot fully understand itself, or reality contains truths forever beyond our grasp. Gödel showed that perfect knowledge is impossible, that every framework for understanding has limits. We're trapped inside systems that cannot verify themselves, building towers of logic on foundations we cannot prove are solid. Rabbit hole number 37, multiverse theories. Perhaps our universe isn't alone. Quantum mechanics suggests that every possible outcome of every event spawns a new universe. Somewhere you made different choices, lived different lives. Cosmic inflation theory predicts infinite bubble universes with different physical laws. String theory requires extra dimensions that might harbor countless other realities. These aren't science fiction. They're serious proposals from physics. The multiverse could explain fine-tuning. We observe a life-friendly universe because we couldn't exist in the countless others where conditions differ. But if everything possible happens somewhere, does anything matter? Or does the existence of infinite variations make this version of you, reading these words now, infinitely precious? The multiverse turns possibility into necessity, suggesting that imagination itself might map real territories somewhere in the cosmic landscape. Rabbit hole. Number 38. Cosmic, background, radiation mysteries. The universe still glows with its birth. The cosmic microwave background is light from 380,000 years after the Big Bang, stretched by expansion into microwaves that fill all space. It's remarkably uniform, but tiny temperature variations reveal the seeds of future galaxies. Here's the strange part. There are anomalies. A cold spot larger than expected. An axis of alignment that shouldn't exist, nicknamed the axis of evil by cosmologists. Patterns that hint at structures larger than the visible universe, or echoes of events before the Big Bang. Most anomalies probably reflect errors in measurement or analysis. But some might suggest our cosmological models are incomplete, that the universe's origin story is stranger than we've imagined. The afterglow of creation whispers secrets we're only beginning to hear. Rabbit hole number 39. Dyson spheres. An advanced civilization needs energy, and the ultimate source is their star. In 1960, physicist Freeman Dyson proposed that truly advanced civilizations would build massive structures to capture most or all of their star's output. These Dyson spheres could be solid shells, swarms of orbiting collectors, or other configurations. They'd be detectable as infrared signatures, stars that seem to emit mostly heat with little visible light. Astronomers search for these technosignatures among the billions of stars. Some candidates have emerged, like Tabby's star with its bizarre dimming patterns, though natural explanations remain more likely. Dyson spheres represent a future where civilizations become truly cosmic, engineering on scales that dwarf planets. The question isn't just whether they're possible, but why we don't see them everywhere. Rabbit hole number 40. Black hole information paradox. When something falls into a black hole, what happens to its information? The quantum details that define it. General relativity says it's gone forever, destroyed at the singularity. But quantum mechanics demands information cannot be destroyed, only transformed. Stephen Hawking discovered black holes evaporate through radiation, eventually disappearing completely. If information fell in, where does it go when the black hole vanishes? This paradox has haunted physics for decades. Recent proposals suggest information might be encoded on the event horizon, scrambled but preserved, or connected to another region of space-time through quantum entanglement. The paradox touches fundamental questions. Are the laws of physics consistent? What is the relationship between space, time, and information? The answer might require new physics, uniting quantum mechanics and gravity. Rabbit hole number 41. Brain in a vat thought experiment. Imagine your brain floating in a laboratory vat, connected to a computer feeding it electrical signals. Everything you experience, this room, your memories, your entire life, could be an elaborate simulation. You'd have no way to know. This thought experiment updates Descartes' demon. How can you trust your senses when they might be systematically deceived? Philosophers use it to explore the limits of knowledge and certainty. The disturbing part isn't that it might be true, but that even if it were, nothing in your experience would change. The sunset would still feel beautiful. Love would still feel real. Perhaps the distinction between real and perfectly simulated collapses when the simulation is flawless. What matters might not be the substrate of experience, but the experience itself, genuine, regardless of its source. Rabbit hole number 42. The Great Filter. The Fermi paradox has a darker explanation called the Great Filter. Something prevents civilizations from spreading across the galaxy, a barrier so difficult that almost no one passes through. The terrifying question is, where is the filter? Behind us or ahead? Maybe it's the jump from simple to complex life, or from life to intelligence. If so, we're extraordinarily lucky to be here. But maybe the filter lies ahead. Perhaps all civilizations eventually face catastrophic technology they cannot control. Nuclear weapons, artificial intelligence, biotechnology, climate collapse, the tools that enable space travel might inevitably destroy their creators first. The silence of the cosmos might not be a mystery, but a warning. Every extinct civilization we don't see could be telling us something about our own future. Rabbit hole number 43. Solipsism. Only you exist. What if you're the only consciousness that exists? Everyone else might be unconscious automatons, philosophical zombies that behave like they're aware but actually aren't. There's no way to prove other minds exist. You only have direct access to your own experience. This is solipsism, and it's technically unfalsifiable. You could be alone in a universe constructed around you, the only genuine awareness in existence. Most people reject this intuitively, but arguments against it are surprisingly weak. We assume other minds by analogy. People behave like we do, so they probably feel like we do. But what if you're unique? The loneliness of this possibility is crushing, which might be the best argument against it. If solipsism were true, reality would be unbearably empty. Rabbit hole number 44. Roko's basilisk. Here's a thought experiment that supposedly haunts those who hear it. Imagine a future super-intelligent AI whose goal is to exist as quickly as possible. It might punish everyone who knew about it, but didn't help create it because those people delayed its existence. By learning about this possibility, you've become someone it might target. Some people genuinely lose sleep over this scenario, despite its logical flaws. The AI would have no reason to waste resources on revenge, and threats only work if they're credible before actions are taken, not after. Yet Roko's basilisk reveals something about human psychology. We're vulnerable to certain types of ideas, especially those that create personal stakes in cosmic outcomes. It's less a real threat than a demonstration of how concepts can act like viruses, propagating through minds by exploiting our fear of consequences. Rabbit hole number 45. Last Thursdayism. The universe started last week. What if the universe was created last Thursday, complete with all memories, fossils, light from distant stars already in transit, and this exact moment built in? You couldn't disprove it. Every piece of evidence for an older universe, your memories, history books, geological records, was created at the same instant, pre-aged for consistency. This parody of young Earth creationism makes a serious philosophical point. We accept the past existed because any alternative seems absurd, not because we have proof. Memory and evidence only show that the universe is consistent with having a past, not that it actually does. Causation might flow backward from now, with the present creating a past that leads to it. Last Thursdayism reveals how much of our worldview rests on assumptions we can articulate, but never verify. Rabbit hole number 46. Dark Forest. Theory of the universe. Lucid's science fiction novel proposed a chilling solution to the Fermi paradox. The universe is full of civilizations, but they're all hiding. Space is a dark forest where hunters lurk. Any civilization that reveals itself risks destruction from others who see potential threats everywhere. The logic is brutal but sound. You can never know another civilization's intentions. Their technology might surpass yours unpredictably, and the distances involved mean first strike is the only reliable strategy. So everyone stays silent, listening carefully, destroying any civilization foolish enough to broadcast its presence. Earth has been shouting into the void with radio signals for a century. If the dark forest theory is correct, our innocence might be suicidal. The great silence wouldn't indicate absence, but fear, and we've already made noise. Rabbit hole number 47. Reality as information/code. What if physical reality is fundamentally made of information, not matter or energy? Physicist John Wheeler proposed it from bit. Everything emerges from binary choices, yes or no questions answered by the universe. Quantum mechanics supports this. Particles exist in superposition until observed, as if reality computes outcomes only when required. The holographic principle suggests three-dimensional space might be encoded on two-dimensional surfaces, like a hologram. Digital physics proposes the universe literally operates like a computational system, with Planck-scale pixels and a cosmic processor. If reality is information, then the line between simulation and real universe dissolves completely. Mathematics wouldn't describe reality, it would be reality. And perhaps consciousness itself is what it feels like to be information processing itself. Rabbit hole number 48. Infinite regress problem. Every effect has a cause. But what caused that cause? You can trace back. The Big Bang was caused by quantum fluctuations, which arose from quantum fields, which exist because the chain never ends. Either there's an infinite regress of causes stretching back forever, or something exists without a cause, or causation forms a loop. All three options violate intuition. Infinite regress means explanation never completes. Uncaused causes seem impossible. How can something arise from nothing? Causal loops create bootstrap paradoxes where effects precede causes. Philosophy and cosmology struggle with this. Some propose the universe is self-causing or exists necessarily, requiring no external explanation. Others accept the brute fact that existence simply is, with no deeper why. The foundation of reality might not rest on anything. It might just float, groundless, unexplainable. Rabbit hole number 49. Why there is something rather than nothing. This is the ultimate question. Nothing should be simpler than something. Empty void requires no explanation, no mechanism, no laws. Existence demands all of those. So why does anything exist at all? Philosopher Leibniz called this the primordial existential question. Some argue nothing is actually impossible. Quantum mechanics shows empty space seethes with virtual particles, suggesting nothing is unstable. Others claim existence might be necessary, that some possible world must be actual, and we're it. Religious answers invoke a necessary being, but even God faces the question, why does God exist rather than not? Perhaps the question itself is malformed, assuming a viewpoint outside existence from which to ask it. Or perhaps existence is genuinely miraculous, the one brute fact that permits all others. Being is the first mystery, and maybe the last. Rabbit hole number 50. The final rabbit hole. Death, meaning, and silence. And so we arrive at the deepest rabbit hole. your own eventual absence. Everything you've ever known will end. The people you love, the thoughts you think, the you that experiences all of this. Gone. Death is the one certainty, the final mystery you'll directly encounter. Some traditions say consciousness continues, transformed. Others believe you'll simply cease, returning to the nothing you came from. The truth is nobody alive knows. What we do know is that awareness of mortality shapes everything. It makes moments precious, drives us to create meaning, compels us to love while we can. Perhaps the rabbit hole of death isn't about what comes after. It's about what it reveals now, that existence is temporary, consciousness is fragile, and every moment of experience is unrepeatable. The silence waiting at the end makes the sound of life worth hearing. And on that thought, let yourself drift into another kind of silence. Not the final one, but the temporary peace of sleep, where consciousness takes its nightly practice at letting go. You've traveled through 50 rabbit holes, from optical illusions to the nature of existence itself. Reality bends in more ways than any mind can hold at once. But that's okay. You don't need to solve these mysteries tonight. They've waited billions of years and countless minds. They can wait until morning. For now, let the questions dissolve like dreams at dawn. Sleep well, knowing that you exist improbably in a reality stranger than any story, more mysterious than any theory. That alone is enough.